today we have another video for you, and we are talking about how to raise up a new generation of Delight leaders. And this is really important because it does three things. First of all, it helps to make sure that Delight is a sustainable ministry on your campus. Secondly, it helps to make sure that Delight is continuing to impact people for years and years and years to come, hopefully. It can really leave a legacy that is pouring into women's lives for a long time. And then thirdly, it gives other women the opportunity to lead, and it gives you the opportunity to help train people in leadership.
Some of you might be at the place in your leadership team where you only have 3 or 4 people and you're needing some more people on your leadership team. And this video will help you go through the steps on how to raise them up and be a part of your team. And then some of you might just have all upperclassmen on your leadership team, and it's really important to incorporate some of those underclassmen because those are the people that are most involved. So this will help you again welcome them onto the team. And then for some of you, you might just have a leadership team that has all the same grade. Maybe you guys are all sophomores or all juniors and you just want to incorporate some of the other grades into your leadership team. So if that's you,
then this video is for you. So pay attention. So step 1 in finding new leaders is to intentionally brainstorm some potential leaders. And there's a couple things that you want to look for when thinking about new leaders. First things first is that you'll want to look at your team and see if there are any gaps in your leadership team. So for instance, maybe you don't have somebody to lead worship, or you don't have somebody who's in charge of service, or somebody who's great at graphic design. Look for those gaps and intentionally think about people that could fill those holes in your team. Secondly, you'll want to look for some diversity on your team. So for instance, if you have all juniors and seniors, then you'll definitely want to look for some sophomores. Or if you have all people involved in Greek life, then you'll want to look for some athletes or some non-Greek life people. And then the third thing you want to look for is passion. You want people on your leadership team that are passionate about the Lord, passionate about Delight, and passionate about bringing women into this community. Usually those are the people that come to all of your Delight events. They're like, how can I help you? And they just have that leadership quality about them. So once you've kind of brainstormed some people, individually, each person on your team is going to want to spend some time in prayer, and we believe that the Lord will place specific people in your mind and on your heart that will be perfect for your leadership team.
Your second step in building your new leadership team would be to set aside a separate time to talk about this. So pick a time in a day of the week with your leadership team to just sit down and talk about the people who the Lord has put on your heart. So, a lot of times when you get together, the Lord will have put similar people on your heart. You'll get to the meeting.
It's really cool.
Like, Mac, I think Suzanne. Me too. I like Suzanne. That's it. Glory to the Lord.
Wow.
But
Praise God.
But a lot of times, it might be a few different people. So this is your opportunity to really talk through each one of these people, pray over their names, and kind of just narrow down who you really think would be a good fit. And then you're good to go from there.
So step 3 is, once you have your list of leaders that you want to approach and ask, you're going to want to divide and conquer. And this is something that you'll want to do towards the end of the semester. It's not something that you'll want to kind of ask people in the middle, but more towards the end so that they have a timeline when they can jump on your team. So what you want to do is maybe each leader take one of the leaders that you want to ask, and they're going to want to ask them out to coffee and just sit down with them. And it's a really cool opportunity because instead of just saying like, hey, do you want to be on our leadership team? You kind of get to share your heart with them, share your heart for Delight and leadership on the Delight team, but also point out what you see in them, what you see the Lord doing in their life. Point out how you envision them serving on your team. Maybe they're just an awesome encourager and you just want to say like, hey, I've seen you encourage so many women and that'll be such a value on our leadership team. So really encourage them before you ask them to be on your team. And then you'll want to kind of talk with them logistically about what it looks like to be a leader and things like that. Maybe send them the leadership guide, and then tell them that they don't have to say yes or no right then, that you'll want them to spend some time praying about it and thinking about it, and that they can get back to you after that.
It might be a good time for them to maybe come to one of your leadership meetings so that you can sit with them and they can see kind of like the reality of
Behind the scenes,
a Delight leader before they commit. So that might be a good first step too, before they actually say yes. But this is one of the coolest steps because you know, anybody you ask is going to be so honored. Like the second you ask them, they're probably going to be like, oh my gosh, can't believe you thought of me. So definitely have boldness in this and step out in faith when you're asking people. And it's such a cool opportunity. Step 4 is easing these new leaders into a leadership position. So ideally, these new leaders should jump on board at the beginning of a semester. Try not to get new leaders on mid-semester because that's just not super practical. And at the beginning of the semester, you just want to give them smaller responsibility so they feel a part of the team and they're coming to the weekly meetings and everything like that. But you just don't want to throw everything on them at once if you can help it. Just ease them into the leadership team. Really help them out, slowly help them get on board.
So step 5 is all about kind of mentoring these new leaders. So kind of what we suggest is maybe each of the leaders on your team intentionally picks one of these new leaders to really pour into and to really mentor. So that might mean getting coffee with them a few times a month outside of Delight and Delight meetings to just really say like, hey, how are you doing? Like, how is this new position? Like, do you feel a part of our team? Just really invest in one person really intentionally. Because sometimes we've seen some transitions in leadership where there's an awkward transition because the already established leadership team is really close and tight-knit, and it can be hard for new people to come into that. So you'll want to just be really, really intentional about pouring into them and making them feel welcome, and helping them to become the leader that you see them potentially being. And really by the end of their first semester as a leader, they should be ready to go. They should be ready the next semester to like fully jump into being like a full-time leader, fully involved, fully present, and hopefully if all goes well, your leadership team is going to be stronger than ever, and some of those older leaders will be able to step back a little bit and let those new leaders lead even more.
So those are all the steps we have for you in building your leadership team, but make sure to be on top of this. Sometimes in building your leadership team, you almost have to be like 1 or 2 semesters ahead of the time. Because you'll be surprised. It kind of sneaks up on you. All of a sudden, you guys are like your end of your junior year and all going to be seniors next semester. So you need to get those people on board as soon as possible. Ideally, you want a leadership team made up of a couple sophomores, a couple juniors, and a couple seniors so you can continue to lead and be sustainable and reach out to your entire campus. So
I think like an ideal leadership team is sophomores are they're usually the most involved and the most passionate on campus, and so they're the people that are really inviting people in, the people that are really working hard to spread the word about Delight. The juniors are kind of the ones that are like leading the weekly meetings. They're really invested in discipling a lot of the girls in Delight. And then the seniors are kind of the wisdom. They kind of sit back and really pour into the leadership team as a whole. And if you have people filling all of those roles in those kind of like years, it really works well, and it's kind of, I think, one of the like healthiest and most effective leadership team kind of like models.
Yes, you guys are going to have the most rockin' teams out there.
Wow.
We have so much faith in you. But keep it up, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and we're praying for you the whole way through.